Mulan is one of the best Disney animated movies of all time, and I'm here to tell you why. Hi, my name is Laura from Your Little Sisters Productions, and I love to talk about movies, entertainment, and storytelling in general. Mulan is my personal favorite animated movie from Disney, and she is my personal favorite protagonist from among their lineup. There are three main things I want to dive into today: the music of Mulan, the storytelling, and Mulan's personal journey. Number one, the music. Mulan might not have the most musical numbers sung throughout, with only four songs sung in only the first half of the movie, but the songs they do have are incredible and add to the story, as does the lack of musical numbers in the last half of the film. Let me explain. Honor to Us All. Honor to Us All is the first musical number in the movie, and as the introductory song, it teaches us a lot about the characters, the culture, the expectations, and where Mulan fits in. We see the mother's hope for Mulan, the grandmother's sassy personality, the lucky cricket's nervousness, the weight of meeting the matchmaker, the expectations placed on the young woman in their culture, and the fact that Mulan doesn't quite fit in with the other girls her age in their town. During the song, we see that she is behind in getting ready, yet she still stops a couple times throughout to help a little girl get her doll back and help an older gentleman win his game of Go. Even when doing something that is highly stressful and has a lot riding on the outcome, she takes the time to notice and help those outside of herself. As the girls are lining up, Mulan has to keep looking around to see what the others are doing, showing that she has no idea what she's supposed to be doing. I don't know when or where the others learned the proper postures and etiquette for this day, but it is apparent that Mulan either didn't show up for the class or wasn't paying very much attention. At the end of the song, the young women are all taking turns singing "Please Bring Honor to Us." But when it comes to Mulan's turn, they either intentionally leave her out or forget about her and move on to the end of the song. This first song tells us so much about Mulan's village, her place in it, and some of Mulan's traits. This is what a good opening number for a musical does: establishes the setting for the rest of the story. And not only that, but it's pretty catchy too. I've caught myself singing parts from this song many times. Reflection. This is where we get to hear the inner thoughts of Mulan. This is an emotion driven song, letting us know that she wants to see herself in her reflection as someone who has brought honor to her family. This is her I want song in the movie. We feel her disappointment that she has been unable to figure out her place in life and wondering when or if that will ever happen for her. The visuals in this scene are beautiful, especially the part when she is in her family's shrine and wipes off her makeup and looks at her reflection for one last time. It's one of my favorite shots in the movie, up there with her reflection and her father's sword right before she cuts her hair. Once she can make them proud, she'll be able to see herself because she will have fulfilled her wish. At least, that's how she's feeling in the moment. Little does she know what fate has in store for her. I'll make a man out of you. I'll admit it, this is the song that gets stuck in my head more than any other song in this movie. It's catchy, it's motivating, it's fun, and who doesn't love a good training montage? We see Mulan, along with most of the others in the troupe, fail at the training exercises over and over and over again. However, Mulan is noticeably one of the worst. She also looks like a cheater a few times throughout, thanks to Mushu trying to help her. In fact, even though there are others there who are not doing well at the camp, it is Mulan, or Ping rather, that Shang decides to send home. We also see Mulan's determination spark here. Instead of leaving, she decides to try climbing the pole to get the arrow, something no one there has been able to accomplish yet. She falls several times until she gets an idea. The combination of her determination and her ingenuity is on full display here, all while the song is going on. The lyrics "Be a man," I believe, mean growing and learning and becoming something more than what you entered the camp as. And Mulan does just that. She learns how to use her natural talents and personality traits to her advantage. She also learns to fight. She becomes physically and mentally stronger during her time in training, and she inspires those around her as well. They see her able to overcome these training obstacles, and I believe it helped them all realize that they could too. reminds me of the story of the first man to run a mile under 4 minutes. In case you don't know the story, here's a brief breakdown. For decades, professional athletes had been trying and failing to run a mile under 4 minutes. The closest at the time was a Swedish runner who clocked in at 4 minutes and 1 second in 1945. So many athletes failed for so many years that a lot of people considered it to be impossible. That is, until it was finally broken by English runner Roger Bannister in 1954. After his accomplishment, several other athletes started running a mile under 4 minutes as well. It is now so commonplace among professional runners today that while it is still considered good time, it's not revolutionary the way it was in the 1950s. Roger breaking the seemingly impossible barrier made way for others to come and do the same. That, I believe, is the same effect Mulan had on the troops, as evidenced by the fact that they all progress after she gets the arrow down from the pole. A Girl Worth Fighting For. This is the last song that is sung in Mulan, for good reason. It is also the silliest and probably the most fun in the movie, which stands in stark contrast with what they find at the end of it. This song isn't there solely to be in contrast with the war, however. It also shares some important details of the men in the troop. They are tired, they are worn out, they need some form of motivation to keep going, and they find that motivation by thinking about the woman they will marry when they return home. Sure, some of the stuff they want doesn't sound much like an equal partnership, but it does show that they crave having a companion and having their love language needs met. Yao wants a woman who will admire his strength and battle scars. Qian Po wants a woman who can cook him all his favorite meals, and Ling wants a beautiful woman who will be impressed with him and the way he talks. Mulan, not really understanding the assignment, says, "What about a girl who's got a brain and always speaks her mind?" To which the men scoff. Funnily enough, she is describing herself, who they go on to greatly admire and respect, even after finding out that she is a woman. Thinking of the type of woman they want to marry seems to help motivate them, as they appear much more cheerful while marching to this song than they were before. Then they see the war-torn village, and all go silent. They start exploring the area in shock, finding the helmet of the general, Shang's father, and a doll from a little girl. For the second time in this film, Mulan is holding a little girl's doll, but this time she is unable to return it to its rightful owner. This doll represents the shift in the meaning of the words of the song, a girl worth fighting for, from their future wives to all the innocent people who have been affected by the war. This whole scene is a masterpiece. This final song, with its abrupt and uneasy conclusion, is a brilliant bit of storytelling. I'm sometimes sad that we don't have more musical numbers in Mulan because I love all four songs we do have. But I understand and agree with the songs that they did include and when. Number two, the storytelling. 2A, foreshadowing. Everything that is set up in Mulan gets finished. That seems like a really basic part of storytelling. And it is. Yet there are so many examples out there of stories setting things up and failing to fulfill or bring it full circle. They set up Mulan being the one that tips the scales, which is part of the overarching story. And when she realizes that she's late to the matchmakers, she scrambles to get her chores done. She doesn't just dump the chicken feed onto the ground, however. She gets her dog, little brother, to help her feed the chickens. And we see that she is caring. She puts others before herself, especially her family. Even though she's running late, she takes the time to bring her father some tea just as the doctor ordered. And after the disaster at the matchmaker meeting, she has a very touching scene with her father under a cherry blossom tree. We also see her use her hair as a self-comforting tool. When she is sad, she runs her hands through it, both under the cherry tree and after her father is conscripted into the army. All of these things happen in the first part of the movie, and all of them, every single thing, comes back full circle in the end. She learns to use her out of the box thinking to first get the arrow from the top of the pole, then to cause an avalanche and destroy most of the Hun army, and again at the palace while fighting Shan Yu. She is caring and puts others before herself. She could have gotten away from Shan Yu and saved herself, but she saw that Shang would be left behind. So she cuts the rope and draws Shan Yu's attention to herself by throwing her shoe at his head, which is a callback to when she threw her shoe at her horse earlier in the movie. After saving China, we see her standing behind Shang and her friends to hide from the Emperor, and once again, she is using her hair to comfort herself. And lastly, when Mulan comes home, we see her father sitting under the very same blossom tree where they had their conversation earlier. As a blossom gently falls down onto his knee, she appears, holding the sword of Shan Yu and the Emperor's crest, showing that, indeed, this blossom has now found her place and bloomed. She has brought the family honor. And in full circle of their conversation earlier, we see her father toss these items aside and enfold her in his arms, saying, "The greatest gift and honor is having you for a daughter." I'm not crying, I just have something in my eye. We also see things come full circle with Mushu. He wants to have his position of guardian back. He's fast talking and quippy, and when he accidentally breaks the Great Stone Dragon, he quickly pretends to be him so he can go after Mulan and earn his position back. He also pretends to be much bigger and intimidating in appearance than he actually is when meeting Mulan. He is no stranger to disguising himself and taking matters into his own hands, which we see him do throughout the film, such as when he and Cricket forge a letter from the general to make sure that Mulan will be involved in combat, and then pretends to be a soldier riding a panda to deliver said letter. And of course, at the very end, when he puts on these big wings to scare the men away from the fireworks. Side note, but I like to believe that they landed somewhere very soft and had little to no injury from their jump. Mushu learns to put aside his selfishness and help without expectations of reward, which ultimately grants him his reward of becoming a guardian again. Even the cricket has a fulfilling arc, with him not believing that he is a lucky cricket and confessing to as much, to then being told that he is, in fact, one lucky bug. Shang starts off wanting to make his father proud and be a great soldier whose name goes down in history, and while his father does not survive to see it, we know that his actions would make him proud. And he does become the leader of the troop that saves China, and even personally has a hand in saving the Emperor. He learns to trust Mulan after feeling betrayed by her disguise, and takes her lead in climbing the poles to get into the palace. Everything that this movie foreshadows, it fulfills, which is just so satisfying. To B, the relationships. The main relationship at the heart of this movie is the one between Mulan and her father. We see him praying fervently for her success before the matchmaker meeting. We see how Mulan cares for him and bringing him a cup of tea, even though she's running late herself. And after the matchmaker meeting, we get the most pivotal scene in the whole movie, the first cherry blossom tree scene. He finds a way to comfort her without directly talking about the events of the day, comparing her to a late blooming cherry blossom. This sets up everything for the rest of the movie. Now, Mulan is not only a grain of rice that will help tip the scale, she is also a blossom that is late in blooming, but when it does, it will be the most beautiful of all. We also see immediately after how highly he values honor when he tells her she has dishonored him after she tries to stop him from taking the conscription scroll. The last conversation they have before she leaves for the training camp is an argument over his decision to go. "I know my place. It is time you learn yours." She takes that advice, albeit not in the way he meant it, by realizing she could take his place in the army. She wants to protect her family and find a way to bring them honor, so she pretends to be a man so she can join. She is okay with changing her outward appearance and even risking her own life if she has even a glimmer of hope of protecting her family and potentially bringing honor to their name through her actions. We see her father's reaction, his utter heartache over her taking his place and potentially dying. The entire time she is away from home, all they can do is hope and pray that she will come home alive. This is the relationship that is at the heart of the movie, the reason for her leaving, and the reason we wait with bated breath for her to come home again. Without this relationship, we don't have as much reason to be invested in Mulan's journey. As mentioned earlier, Shang also has a strong relationship with his father and a great desire for him to be proud of him. He and Mulan have that in common. Mushu might not have a father that we can see in the movie, but he does want to impress the lead ancestor of the Fa family and gain his guardian position back, and to be seen as a fearsome dragon. He is constantly feeling the need to defend his size and abilities to the ancestors, and even Mulan herself when they first meet. He lies to her about his true appearance and powers. He is unable to believe that he can be a good guardian at his size and ability, so he feels the need to exaggerate and even lie about himself. Yet in the end, it is him learning to be himself and to think of others that helps him the most. He learns to use his skills to help others and not just to make himself look good. Being true to himself, just like with Mulan and Shane, gets Mushu what he wants in the end. He is a guardian again, and the ancestors have to acknowledge that he did, indeed, do a good job. 2C Theories. I have seen two different theories regarding the Great Stone Dragon. One, that Mulan becomes the dragon guardian of her family, hence why Mushu was unable to wake the stone dragon up. It was already gone by the time he got there. The second one, which is not nearly as popular, is that Mushu is the great dragon protector of the family, giving a different reason for the statue crumbling. While the movie never explicitly states which one of these two theories, if either, are correct, there is some symbolism around Mulan and Mushu regarding dragons. Mulan is sitting at the feet of the great stone dragon when she decides to take her father's place during a rainstorm. There's a picture of a dragon in the shrine, a dragon on the screen in her parents' room when she takes the conscription scroll. There is a dragon on the handles of the wardrobe where her father's armor is. There's a dragon on the hilt of the sword, lots of dragon symbolism surrounding her. Mushu is, of course, himself a dragon, although he is small in size. He breaks the statue of the great stone dragon, pretends to be him, and takes his place as Mulan's guardian, and learns some valuable lessons along the way before becoming a guardian again. Personally, I think there is more symbolism and credibility to the theory of Mulan becoming the great dragon that protects her family than the Mushu theory, but they do save China together, so maybe together they're the great dragon? I don't know. It's just a fun theory to think about. Number 3, Mulan's character growth. Mulan's arc is at the heart of the movie and is the biggest reason for this being my favorite Disney movie. Mulan is tenacious, determined, clever, protective, inspiring, and hardworking. She may go to the army training camp to protect her father from going to war a second time, but I believe she ultimately stays to protect all of China, not just her family, especially after finding the doll in the mountains. As I talked about in the music portion of this video, Reflection is her I Want song. All she wants is to become someone that will bring honor to her family. She realizes that she doesn't quite fit in. She doesn't follow the conventions of her village the way we see other young women doing. And she wants to find a way she can contribute and become someone worth being proud of in her family's eyes. I related to this so much growing up. I'm sure a lot of kids feel as if they're outsiders or that people don't understand them, and I was certainly one of them. But watching Mulan gave me hope. Hope that someday I could and would find my place in the world. And as I've grown up and matured and learned through life, I have. But I still love watching Mulan and her personal journey. In the beginning of the movie, Mulan is so torn up over not being able to just fit in and follow the path laid out for her. Her gifts are not ones that are conventionally praised in women in her culture, and the things that are praised, she has failed at having or doing. She is not subservient. She speaks her mind and doesn't always do what she is told, although I wouldn't necessarily classify her as a rebel. She doesn't want to disobey anyone just for the sake of going against them, more so because she sees things differently. Take the cannon on the mountain, for example. Shang had ordered them to use the last one to take out Shan Yu, but Mulan snatches it from Yao's hands and runs up closer to cause an avalanche. Or even earlier in the film, when she runs to intercede on her father's behalf. She's not rebellious for rebelliousness' sake. It's not until she is in an environment where her natural talents and gifts are not only okay for her to use, but encouraged and trained to be even better. She is able to use those things that previously were seen as rude or dishonorable and grow into someone stronger and better than before. They all do. When it is discovered that Mulan is a woman, it is the fact that she had saved Shing's life that keeps her alive. It is also due to the fact that she took out most of the Huns, thus saving the whole troop from being wiped out in battle. Her friends, also in shock from learning that she is a woman, rush forward to defend her when they think Shang will hurt her. She had an amazingly positive impact, not just in helping to protect China, but in helping Qianpo, Yao, and Ling. Yet, even after all that, she felt as if she was nothing when she was told to go home after being discovered. She had technically done the main part of what she had set out to do. She kept her father from enlisting and even had a hand in defeating most of the Huns. But she hadn't brought the honor she sought after so much, and that is why she felt like a failure. She wasn't sure how her father would react to her coming home that way, but it seems as if her lucky cricket strikes again because she is in the right place at the right time to see Shan Yu and some of his fellow Huns survive and head into the city. This time, she doesn't try to disguise herself. She doesn't care that she was just sent home after being discovered, or that she was feeling so down just a moment before. She just heads into the danger, as always, and keeps trying no matter the obstacle placed in front of her. I love that about her character. She never stops going for what she wants. She finds ways around the obstacles in front of her, using her cleverness and knack for strategy. She comes up with a plan to save the Emperor by having some of the men dress up as women in order to get close enough to the Huns without arousing their suspicions. And it works. They climb the pillars just like she did earlier and get past the guards. She takes on Shan Yu, with the help of Mushu and Cricket, of course, and once again shows how she is able to think fast on her feet and strategize. She starts off the movie being told she would never bring honor to her family and feeling almost worthless, to saving her country and its leader and having the emperor and everyone there bowing down to her. And to add to this, she was offered the highest position the emperor could offer her. But in keeping with her character and the relationship that is the most important to her, indeed, the entire reason for her starting out in the first place, she declines and heads home. Mulan is selfless, hardworking, kind, clever, inspiring, and family oriented, and I love watching her growth in this movie. Her arc is the reason this movie is my favorite animated Disney movie of all time, and I don't think there'll ever come a time that I don't cry when she is reunited with her father at the end. Let me know what your favorite Disney movie is in the comments below, and remember to like, comment, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to see more content. You know, Taya and I love talking about storytelling, especially with movies. It's why we did our podcast called Missed Opportunities, where we reviewed movies, and it's why we started doing video essays here on YouTube. But we don't just talk about other people's stories, we also create our own, like our audio drama, Adventures of the Dragonborn, an original audio drama written by us and acted out by some very talented local actors and singers. If you like our thoughts in our videos about movies and storytelling, check out our original story on our channel. We strive to keep all our content family friendly so you can enjoy entertainment without worrying about what your children might overhear or see, and perhaps maybe even enjoy it together. Thank you so much for watching.